In the shadowy realm of conspiracy, few tales are as pervasive and strange as the Montauk Project. Its origins are said to be entwined with an even more infamous legend, the Philadelphia Experiment. The story begins in the midst of World War II, a time of frantic scientific innovation and military secrecy. At the Philadelphia Naval Shipyard, the U.S. Navy was allegedly pursuing a technology to render warships invisible to enemy radar. This endeavor was codenamed Project Rainbow. The experiment supposedly took place on October 28, 1943, involving the destroyer escort USS Eldridge. Using massive electromagnetic generators, the ship was not only to become radar invisible, but optically invisible as well. According to the legend, the experiment succeeded far beyond anyone's expectations. The USS Eldridge vanished entirely from the waters of Philadelphia. It then reportedly reappeared for moments in Norfolk, Virginia, hundreds of miles away, before returning. The human cost of this alleged teleportation was horrific. Sailors were said to have been fused to the ship's metal bulkheads, trapped between dimensions. Others were driven completely insane, their minds shattered by the experience. Some simply vanished forever, lost to the fabric of space-time. Faced with this disaster, the Navy allegedly shut down Project Rainbow immediately. However, the key scientists involved were not dismissed. Their knowledge was deemed too valuable to abandon. A new initiative, the Phoenix Project, was born from Rainbow's ashes. This project aimed to understand and control the psychological effects of the electromagnetic fields. After years of quiet research, the project required a new, more isolated home. They found it at the tip of Long Island, at a decommissioned Air Force station. This was Montauk Air Force Station, home to the imposing Sage radar tower. The official story was that the base was closed in 1969. The conspiracy claims that it not only remained open, but was vastly expanded underground. Here, the Phoenix Project became the Montauk Project. The research shifted from mere invisibility to the manipulation of reality itself. At the heart of these new experiments was a device known as the Montauk Chair. It was supposedly an amplifier for psychic energy, built with non-terrestrial technology. A powerful psychic, when seated in the chair, could manifest their thoughts into reality. The Sage radar was used to broadcast these manifestations over a wide area. Early experiments were crude, focusing on influencing the weather or disrupting electronics. Soon the project's focus turned to a far more ambitious goal: time travel. The psychic in the chair would be instructed to create a portal to another time. At first, it was just a window, a way to view the past or the future. But the portal was unstable, a flickering glimpse into the unknown. The scientists worked to stabilize it, to create a durable tunnel through space-time. Allegedly succeeded, creating what they called the time tunnel. This tunnel allowed for physical travel to any point in history. To power these incredible feats, the project needed a constant supply of psychic fuel. This led to one of the darkest alleged aspects of the project: the Montauk Boys. Runaway and orphaned boys were supposedly abducted from the streets. They were chosen for their psychic sensitivity and their vulnerability. These children were subjected to intense psychological and physical torture. The goal was to break their personalities and reprogram them as psychic operatives. Most of the children did not survive the process. Those who did became the seeing eyes for the time travel experiments. The project reached its chaotic climax on August 12, 1983. This date was significant, exactly 40 years to the day after the Philadelphia experiment. Link was supposedly established between the two events through the time tunnel. The USS Eldridge was pulled through time and space into the underground base at Montauk. At this point, the psychic in the chair, Duncan Cameron, unleashed a monster from his subconscious. This beast from the ID was a manifestation of pure, primal fear. It destroyed equipment and threatened everyone in the base. Realizing the experiment was catastrophically out of control, the project leaders decided to pull the plug. They couldn't simply turn it off. The creature was sustained by the psychic's mind. In a moment of desperation, someone ran to the transmitter and cut the power cables. The portal collapsed, the creature vanished, and the project came to a crashing halt. The base was allegedly cleared out and sealed. All personnel had their memories wiped and were reintegrated into society. The story of Montauk only surfaced years later, when some of these memories began to return. Preston Nichols, an electrical engineer, claimed to be one of the project's technicians. He began to publish books detailing his recovered experiences. His accounts form the primary basis for the entire Montauk Project conspiracy theory. Skeptics point to the complete lack of physical evidence to support these claims. There are no documents, no artifacts, and no verifiable witnesses outside the core group of believers. The stories themselves are often inconsistent and have changed over the years. The official records show Montauk Air Force Station was a standard Cold War radar facility. It was handed over to the state of New York in the 1980s and became a park. Yet, the legend persists, fueled by a deep-seated distrust of government secrecy. It speaks to our fascination with the unknown and the potential for hidden technologies. The tale has woven itself into the fabric of modern pop culture. The popular series Stranger Things drew heavy inspiration from the Montauk conspiracy. Whether fact or fiction, the Montauk Project is a story about the perceived limits of science and the darkness of unchecked power. It remains a chilling modern folktale for an age of technological anxiety. The abandoned radar tower at Camp Hero still stands today, a silent monument to a fantastic story. It invites visitors to wonder what secrets, if any, lie buried beneath the ground. The narrative begins with whispers from a past conflict. In the heart of wartime, secrecy was paramount. The goal was to bend the very laws of physics for military advantage. The USS Eldridge became the focal point of this audacious attempt. Generators hummed with an unnatural, otherworldly energy. The air itself seemed to crackle and warp around the vessel. Witnesses on shore allegedly saw the ship flicker and fade from view. Brief reappearance in Virginia was a terrifying omen of the experiment's true nature. The aftermath for the crew was a nightmare made real. Men became living ghosts, their bodies integrated with the ship's cold steel. The psychological trauma was immeasurable, a silent scream that echoed through the years. Many were lost, their atoms scattered across an unknown dimension. The project was officially terminated, its records classified and buried. But the architects of the experiment were quietly reassigned. Their dangerous knowledge was a resource to be exploited, not discarded. The Phoenix Project rose from the wreckage of Project Rainbow. New focus was on the mind, the final frontier of the experiment. A secure and remote location was needed to continue the work in absolute secrecy. Montauk Point, with its abandoned military hardware, was the perfect candidate. The official closure of the base was a carefully constructed lie. Deep beneath the earth, a new laboratory was being built. The Montauk Project was officially underway, its goals more audacious than ever. The manipulation of matter and time became the project's central obsession. The Montauk chair was the key, a throne for a psychic king. Its design was said to be alien, a gift from another world. A trained psychic could use the chair to bend reality to their will. The giant radar dish became a psychic broadcasting antenna. They started small, conjuring storms and causing electrical failures in nearby towns. The ultimate prize, however, was the mastery of time itself. The psychic operator would focus on a specific date, creating a rift in the space-time continuum. These early portals were fleeting, offering only brief, tantalizing glimpses of other eras. The challenge was to make the portals stable enough for physical passage. Their success gave birth to a fully functional time tunnel. Missions were reportedly sent to various points in the past and future. The project's insatiable need for psychic energy led it down a dark path. The Montauk Boys program was a testament to the project's moral decay. Vulnerable youths were systematically targeted and abducted. They were chosen for their innate psychic potential. The reprogramming process was brutal and inhumane. Their identities were erased, replaced with a cold, programmable loyalty. The casualty rate was horrifyingly high, a closely guarded secret. The survivors became the unwilling pilots of the time machine. The project's hubris peaked on the 40th anniversary of the Philadelphia experiment. A temporal lock was created, bridging 4 decades in an instant. The USS Eldridge materialized in the heart of the Montauk facility. With the link established, the psychic operator lost control of his own mind. The beast from the ID was a creature of pure, unrestrained, subconscious terror. It laid waste to the lab, a physical manifestation of the project's inner madness. Directors knew the experiment had to be terminated at any cost. The creature was tied to the psychic's life force, making it impossible to kill directly. A desperate technician made the choice to sever the power source. The time tunnel imploded, and the creature dissolved back into the nothingness from which it came. The cleanup was swift and total, erasing all traces of the project. The memories of the staff were suppressed through advanced psychological techniques. But some memories are too strong to be buried forever. Preston Nichols became the primary whistleblower, the voice of the forgotten. His books brought the incredible story to a public audience. His narrative became the gospel of the Montauk conspiracy. Mainstream science, however, remains utterly unconvinced. The lack of concrete proof makes the story an article of faith, not fact. The narrative has been criticized for its internal contradictions. The official history of the Sage radar is well documented and mundane. The base's transformation into a state park is a matter of public record. But the story's power lies not in its truth, but in what it represents. It taps into a primal fear of what might be happening just beyond our sight. The tale has become a modern myth, inspiring countless other stories. The influence on Stranger Things is undeniable, a direct creative lineage. The Montauk Project is a cautionary tale about the seductive allure of absolute power. It reflects our deepest anxieties about the technologies we are creating. The old radar tower at Montauk continues to watch over the Atlantic, a silent sentinel. It stands as a monument to a story that refuses to die, whether it is true or not.